Charing Cross Road is a busy thoroughfare in London's West End, famous for its bookshops and its theatres. It's a hotspot for tourists and Londoners alike. It is absolutely the last place where you'd expect to find a tranquil garden. And yet there is one. Go up Phoenix Street, next to the Phoenix Theatre, and you'll come to the Phoenix Garden. The garden is, relatively speaking, a fairly recent addition to the green spaces of the city. It was founded in 1984 and officially opened in 1986, winning a Shell Better Britain award in 1985, which is pretty impressive for something not even open. Before that, this space was a car park, before that a bomb site, and before that a residential area. This area used to be known as St Giles and was notorious for being impoverished. These days it's prime real estate, as our American cousins would say. People tend to view it either as part of Soho or Covent Garden, St Giles having all but vanished in the popular consciousness. The garden itself is interesting for a number of reasons. The soil is quite low quality, being a thin layer that's very stony, thanks to decades of rubble. The garden is also unusually warm for the southeast of England, due to being surrounded by buildings. This means it can support some rather exotic species for the area. It's set out very deliberately to be low maintenance. The philosophy set out on the garden's website, which I'll quote directly, is that there are no weeds, there are no pests, there is no need to water, and there is no waste. That might sound somewhat optimistic, but the results speak for themselves. In line with the ecological goals, the garden is a haven for wildlife. It's attractive to bees, birds, stag beetles, and even frogs, which are a rare sight in the West End. It doesn't feel like your typical London park, being rather wilder than the norm. But then, it isn't a typical London park. It's run by local volunteers and is a registered charity. This does come with its associated risks. For instance, in 2016 the garden was threatened with closure, but enough money was raised to save it, and it rose again like some sort of bird where you think it's dead, but then it comes back to life. A sparrow? The new and improved garden incorporates a new building and is now much more accessible. It can be hired for events and even gets the odd use as a filming location. It showed up in the film Last Christmas. I cannot confirm this for myself, as I did not see that film. The garden is a popular local attraction, if you know about it, and it receives around 400 visitors at lunchtime from the many shops and offices in the area. And yet it's one of those bits of London that most people don't know about at all. It's not something you'd come across by accident, even though it's literally about a minute from the tourist trail. I'd never even visited myself before making this video. Well, I hope you enjoyed today's visit to one of the city's less publicised green spaces, and if you did, then I would be most grateful if you would hit the like button and perhaps consider subscribing for more. I can confirm that the garden is even better in person, and I'll put a link to the garden's website in the description below. Thanks, as ever, to my donors on Ko-fi and Patreon. You are the unconventional green space to my ugly car park. And I'll see you all again very soon. Cheerio.